the Coen brothers dropping a Netflix movie.
Mm-hmm.
What am I supposed to make of this, Dave? The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. This feels like probably the best made for Netflix movie that I can recall. I mean, I haven't seen Roma yet, so I'll withhold my judgment on that until that comes out. The trailer looks incredible, but I mean, it almost like takes what Netflix is. So a lot of people just binge watching TV shows, and it's like, all right, so we're gonna put this on a format where people binge watch. Here's like 6 different stories, and we'll just let people binge watch these all in one sitting.
Yeah, it's Netflix's whole plans this year with Ballad of Buster Scruggs, with Roma, with they're releasing these films in small limited releases in theaters, which is going directly against their ethos they were ascribing to as early as the beginning of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of that is because the Coen brothers, Alfonso Cuarón, are two of the most influential, successful filmmakers we have right now. So they probably have some pull with putting a project on Netflix. But I think it also speaks a little bit to the changing of the times, both the way Netflix's worldview and also the way people are accepting Netflix, in terms of the traditional industry. But yeah, I mean, is this the best made for Netflix movie they have? I think it is until Roma comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, what's in the competition? Private Life came out earlier this year. It's supposed to be great. Okja maybe.
Okja's pretty good.
There's only a handful that are like truly great. There's other movies that are just good. Like your War Machines, your Meyerowitz stories, stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's an interesting title to bestow on Scruggs for a few weeks until Roma comes out. But it's interesting just because the whole genesis of this project was initially described to us as like an anthology series being on Netflix. And the Coens said like last week that they were never going to do this as a TV series because they don't like doing TV because it's too open-ended. And I'm like, why didn't they tell us that 2 years ago?
Right.
I didn't know that's how they felt. So I don't really know if that's ultimately 100% true, but that's what they said. And I thought it was interesting that they would do, these 6 stories that are totally unconnected, but thematically, all in line together. And and throughout the way, it has a lot of things that the Coen brothers are known for, whether it's, it's like punchy dialogue that is surprisingly funny at like weird moments and, quirky characters. I think a lot of and then heady, bigger themes on top of everything. I think this is a lot of what the Coen brothers do best. And it's definitely not their best movie. That's a high bar to hit. But I was quite impressed. Honestly, I really liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was good, and I could tell. I mean, it's Coen brothers. It's top of the top, like you said, two of the most influential directors we have. I didn't find myself loving this, and I think where I felt like I wasn't really catching for me was because it's 6 different stories. I found myself connecting with some over others, and with it being short, that's fine. Like I'll watch a 20-25 minute episode and be like, okay, well, no skin off my back there. But it just ended up like almost similar to Kirk Knight, bringing me in and out. Like the what's it called? Near Algodones.
Right.
Definitely didn't pronounce that right.
Franco.
Yeah, with Franco. I didn't find myself that interested in that one. Then we get to Meal Ticket and All Gold Canyon, and those ones really hit for me, and those ones really pulled me in. Especially All Gold Canyon. Shout out Tom Waits. He was incredible in that one. Yeah, he was probably the standout performer in all of this for me. And it really just was kind of left feeling up and down, which I guess is how you connect with the story and what feels personal to you. And it's fine, but for Coen brothers, it did leave me feeling a little bit disappointed, a little bit like, I don't know if this is. I think it was not what I expected either, which probably was a knock for me as well.
Sure, and I mean, yeah, I think to totally like buy in, I mean, you have to kind of just accept for like what is like their message. And again, it's tough to ascribe like a message to Coens. Obviously, that it's always been tough to pin them down. But I mean, what is it in this one? Like the finding brevity or not brevity, levity in death. Is that really what the theme is? I'm not sure. Death was definitely a theme throughout, and this was, uh, and they're making light of it at all turns, whether it starts off with the Ballad of Scruggs proper, or
Mhm.
near Algodones, like you said. I think that might be one of the weaker ones, uh, but also it's the shortest one, so it doesn't really overstay
Right.
its welcome. And then the Mortal Remains, the very last one, the Stagecoach, that was probably my least favorite
Mm.
story, but that was really more of like a conclusion story, and then they're just kind of like hashing it out for the viewer, the themes, I guess,
Mhm.
and then, like, I'll watch Brendan Gleeson chew scenery anyway. That's fine with me. But yeah, I
Sure.
thought my favorite ones were Meal Ticket, All Gold Canyon, and the gal who got rattled, I think.
Yeah, the guy who got rattled, it's funny because they had moments in this, like the shootout with the Indians or the Native Americans in this, when I was just like, yeah, they're really good at this. Like this is like reminded me a lot of like No Country for Old Men, like some of those scenes. Or it just they really do what they do well. But I think to what you were saying before, if we can't really find the overarching storyline or the overarching point in all this, it almost feels like there's something that didn't come across probably the way that they intended it to, or maybe they're expecting people to take from it what they want. But I did leave a lot of these feeling like I don't really know if I got what they were trying to say there, and I think that for me that detracts a bit from it. Overall, it's a Netflix movie, and like I said, if I can watch something at home, I'm going to give it some extra points for me, like make it as available to me as possible. So I think that this will, probably like a 70, 75. I was wondering where it fell for you in your Coen brothers like rankings, if you have them, or if you have like ones that you like and ones that you dislike.
Yeah, no, so that's a good question. I think the Coen brothers, they're largely discussed in terms of early Coen brothers and then contemporary Coen brothers, and I guess now we're really in late Coen brothers. But you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not super well versed in the early stuff, unfortunately. I haven't seen Miller's Crossing. I haven't seen Barton Fink. Really want to watch that
Mm-hmm.
movie at some point. But obviously, this movie doesn't compare to Fargo or Big Lebowski. Doesn't compare
Right.
to No Country for Old Men.
Mm-hmm.
Now, No Country for Old Men, True Grit, and Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Those are their three westerns, right? But they're all very
Mm-hmm.
different films. But in terms of I think I'd probably have this. I have this above Hail Caesar. I'd say. I think Hail
Yeah,
Caesar.
definitely. What about
Quite
Lewin?
enjoyable, quite funny. I liked, but honestly, the biggest takeaway, of course, is the Alden Ehrenreich scene from that movie. Um,
Yeah.
I think I like Inside Llewyn Davis more. That's an interesting one because that's a movie that wasn't quite what I expected when I saw it. You kind of had to set
Mm-hmm.
that's a story about, you know, just missing out, like pseudo failure, right? Um, I haven't seen Burn After Reading since I saw it in theaters, so I don't have a good opinion on that, and I haven't seen A Serious Man, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's it's tough because it's a high bar. Like I don't, I haven't seen any. I haven't seen all of them, but the ones I don't dislike any of their movies that I've seen. But yeah, I have it above Hail Caesar for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it pretty much falls probably in like the middle to the back half for most people. Seems like you probably have your Cohen favorites, and this isn't gonna crack anybody's like top five, but it's still quality, and it's good. Like the Cohen brothers, kind of like pizza. Even when it's not their best, it's still really
Exactly. It's
enjoyable
not
to
going to
eat.
offend
So
anyone.
definitely check it out because it's not going to cost you anything other than your regular Netflix subscription, which pretty much everybody has at this point anyway.